Welcome back to the channel. This is not the first video I wanted to make after the incident we had with my 17 STI, but life happens, and as you guys saw, But before we get into talking the Honda, I'm going to give you guys an update with the STI and exactly what happened, because I wasn't even going to post that video originally and it was left with a lot of unanswered questions for you guys. So hopefully I'm going to answer as many questions as possible. I have the STI now back at my shop. It is almost a week later now. I've kind of just taken a mental break for the past few days of recording and not stressing about anything like that. And especially after the incident that happened with the Honda. But I wanted to at least make this video for you guys so you guys know exactly what's happening, current up-to-date time. Left with so many unanswered questions. So yes, my 17 STI on the dyno unfortunately went up in flames. Thankfully, no one was hurt, nothing was injured, any damage that was caused was done to the car directly. Nothing else, which is a huge relief. So a lot of you guys are wondering exactly what caused the fire. The day before dyno day, I was rushing in a sense to get this car ready to make track day. I have always had an issue of making a track day. Something always happens, something comes up, and I really did not want to miss this track day, especially because our track is opening up here in Spokane in just a month, and I wanted to race not in my local city because one, I'm very nervous, camera shy, stuff like that. So I not want my first event to be with people I know watching me. So that is why I was trying to get this car put together so quick so I could attend Renegade. But I've never built a fuel system before, and going through it seemed pretty easy. And it wasn't really truthfully that bad, except obviously the huge, very vital issue that I overlooked. Here is the fuel line that I had ran under the car because I did make a full dash 10 from the tank all the way up into the fuel rails. Before I was just utilizing the engine bay dash 6 fuel lines I made over a year ago. And I was trying to make 1,000 Mustangs, so I needed the dash 10 to hopefully supply the fuel that we needed. But as I've never built a fuel system, I knew obviously the concepts of doing it and the right way and not right way. I hit it like 50% of doing it proper and improper, but I messed up one very, very, very crucial thing when building a fuel system, which I, for some reason, did not think would be that important. So here we have an AN fitting, a 90 degree, and I'll show you guys what I messed up on. So here we have the fitting where the AN line connects. You put the line through here and it screws onto here to get a very tight pressure fit connection so it does not leak. If you guys see this cut, you guys can see that it's not a straight cut. It's at like a 45-degree angle, which is not acceptable at all. All your cuts have to be very, very straight and precise. So that is the first thing I messed up on. And this was the first cut I ever made to any AN line before. All the other cuts were perfect. I'll show you guys here. It's hard to tell because the fire frayed everything, but straight cut, straight cut. That first one that I showed you guys is the failing point of this fuel system, which caused this car to go up in flames. It's hard to show you guys, but with that cut not being straight and the line not being completely on that AN, it caused it with heat and whatever else, the connection not being good in the first place, to slowly come apart. I'm sure the heat did not help it as well, and it eventually started to leak where the cut was at the low point, and it started dripping fuel. Now for some reason I shouldn't even put the fuel filter where I put it. Right now I'm running an open downpipe and I have a downpipe external gate. My full exhaust did not come in yet, so I was just tuning with an open downpipe, plus it helps with the flow and stuff like that. But I left the fuel filter right where the downpipe wastegate dump is, literally like right next to each other. So it got very, very warm, and with that fuel leak happening, obviously you have some fire that comes out of your exhaust, your wastegate, and as soon as the wastegate saw some flame, it caught the dripping fuel, and from there started this big old fire as you guys have seen. And obviously with the fuel fire, it's just tracing the fuel line and all of the fuel to continue to grow this fire. And that's why it just kept getting bigger and bigger. Thankfully, it got put out before it hit the tank, which would have been catastrophic at that point. But that is what caused this fire to happen. So that is the root cause of this fire. After that, thankfully, Josh helped out. If you guys have watched this video, he went through and properly did the fuel system. He routed the lines over the tank, which I did not do. One, I didn't have a lift to drop the fuel tank. It would have been very hard to do it on jack stands. And truthfully, I didn't even think about doing that. So now I know, obviously, lots and lots of lessons learned from this. But now the fuel system is perfect. It is gorgeous looking under the car and it works properly. Fortunately, when that fire, we didn't catch, obviously there's a fire. We weren't looking at the data log right after that. It lost fuel pressure, and it leaned out during that hit because it was leaking during that hit and leaned out the car pretty damn bad. So then as we continued tuning, unfortunately, during our last steps of the tuning process to get this car ready for the track day, it took out the motor. That is why you guys did not see me with my STI racing this past weekend, is because we took out a motor during that fire. Josh has always warned me saying cars at this power level are no joke and they will kill you. I've always agreed, obviously, but after experiencing just a simple screw up can be life-threatening. So truthfully, I don't know if I'm ready to have this much power. Obviously, when we get this car back together, we're going to detune it because I've never raced at a track before, and that's why I built this car. Is I want to race this car and I want to enjoy this car in its true purpose. Obviously, I get so many comments about the air and the hot boy tire, rubber bands, stuff like that. That's all going. We were trying to get this car tuned before I went and put the coils and the slicks and stuff on. So for everyone commenting, it's a hot boy, blah, blah car. Yes, I know it is still on air and the rubber band tires, but it's not staying. This car is going to be transformed into a track build. That is why I have these cars, to be able to enjoy on the street and do my hot boy stuff that I still love deep down. But I don't know when I'm going to touch this car, and obviously there is the price point aspect of it. This motor is not cheap at all. This took me a very long time to be able to get this car to where it is right now. I know for you guys it looks like it happened overnight. Did not at all. This car has been in the process of like 2 years of getting it to where it is right now. And this is a very, very expensive long block. Obviously, I do not know what's taken out, so I can't say how much it's gonna cost to replace until it's torn apart and looked at. But regardless, it's not going to be cheap. So for now, the STI, as much as it hurts me, I think needs to just take a break, regather myself, focus on builds that I'm like really, truly passionate about doing. This, obviously, I'm very passionate about doing, but it makes me nervous every time I work on this car. I drive this car. It's just, there's a level of anxiety working and driving this car, which is not fun for like a daily purpose. So that's why I picked up Hawkeyes and more street friendly builds and stuff like that I can actually enjoy, be happy about, not worry about breaking anything and stuff like that. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.